Rod, man, welcome back to another episode of the PHIN Outta Football NFL podcast. I am your host, B Herbo, and I got my brother from another mother, Rod, man, in the building, man. What is going
Rob,
on,
man.
brother? How are you, dog? Another week in the books, another week closer to the 2025 NFL season. How you feeling, brother?
Listen, man. You know what, Herbie? These are what I call. You and I are both NBA fans, right? Finals just finished. Super anticlimactic, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
Shout out to Tyrese Halliburton, man. Terrible injury, sucks, bro, because he would have made it interesting, man. But we're in the dog days. It's just baseball and a couple other random things going on. If you're
This
into,
the roughest month, man. Once it gets to
oh,
July, it's rough because all you got is baseball. No disrespect to the baseball fans out there, bro, but we
Listen,
need
I like
content.
baseball, Herbie. I like baseball, but here's the problem. See, for me to keep up for 162 games or however many games they have, I need my team to be decent.
And the
And
Marlins suck.
oh, they're awful. The
Hey, at
Marlins,
least we got the Panthers, baby. Shout out to the Panthers holding South Florida down, man. Shout out to my Panthers, man. Holding it
the
down.
Cats. Yes, sir, the
The
Cats.
ice cats, the cardiac cats, the street cats. Bro, I listen, if you are a hockey fan and you like a real deal hockey fan from Canada, I know that parade had to drive you crazy, dog. To have a hockey parade on
At the
the
beach.
beach, at the beach, beautiful women, beautiful weather, bodies everywhere. Motherfuckers is getting drunk watching the parade over the balcony at the hotel on a resort. I know the motherfuckers in Edmonton is sick, man. I know it. Fuck them.
Puke.
All right, man. Let's get right into the show, man. So we don't have too much on the docket today, man. We are at the point of our QB tiers where we're finally getting to the rankings, man. If you see the title, man, we are ranking quarterbacks who we feel are going to be in the top 8. This is the top 8, man. This is the elite 8. This is the top 8. We're going to do 8 through 5 this week, and then we're going to finally get to the end, the finish line with who we think are the 4 best quarterbacks. It's everybody. It's the consensus, right? It's just how are we going to rank them? But before then, man, we got 8 through 5 to get to, man. However, before we get to that, we got to get to this. And what I mean by that, and what I mean by this, is I'm so tired of these analytics dudes, man. We got to put these dudes back in the locker, man. We got to put these dudes back in the locker, man. And for the people that's in the chat, for the people that's looking and people that's watching this video, what I'm talking about, man, ESPN had a all quarter century list. Basically, who are the best players by position from years 2000 to now, the past 25 years. And they, for the most part, the list is fine. But there's just some serious omissions, right? Chief among them, you cannot have a quarter century list in a 25 years time frame that spans from 2000 to 2025, and you're saying that the best running backs in the past 25 years does not have Adrian Peterson. How is that possible? How can you do that? And this is the issue I have with analytics dudes, super diehards. The person who was a part of this is Self Walder and Aaron Schatz. If you don't know who Aaron Schatz is, he's the guy who created Football Outsiders, and he's the guy that created DVOA. That is a super nerd analytics stat. Basically, if you're not familiar with DVOA, it's basically a stat that says if we line things up and we weight the strength of schedule that you're going against versus everybody else. So if you have a higher strength of schedule, how productive you are on offense is a baseline, and it's going to rank higher than anybody that's below you. So, for example, the Ravens were the number 1 team on DVOA on offense and defense last year. Basically, they're saying because they had the hardest schedule and how effective and how good they were on both sides of the ball, relative to people that might have had a weaker strength of schedule and performing on the same basis against much tougher competition, we're going to rank you number 1 in DVOA. That is what that is. That is the type of nerd that Aaron Schatt is. I like Aaron Schatz. I read a lot of his stuff. I follow Football Outsiders. I read about DVOA and passing and rushing and defense. You feel me? We use that during the season. You feel me? It's a tool that we use in our overall toolbox. You feel me? Because we like to talk about football. I love the nerdy shit. I really do. But if you have a formula that is supposed to say who is the best running back of the past 25 years, and it doesn't tell you Adrian Peterson, you need to throw the formula away and start from scratch. like you need to start over from scratch, bro. So this is it right here, bro. This is it right here. For quarterback, man, they got Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
No brainers.
Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes. If you want to put Aaron Rodgers, cool, whatever. But that is who it should be. We're going to skip past running back because we got to say that for last. Fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. Easy. Wide receivers, Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson. No complaints. Julio Jones, no complaints. T.O., no complaints. Marvin Harrison, no complaints. Justin Jefferson ain't got no business being here, bro. Where's Antonio Brown?
Before we gloss over wide receivers, this was one of my gripes, Herbie.
Go for it. Yeah, let's get into it.
Herbie, how they gonna have this list, bro, and not have Larry Fitzgerald?
Bro, not only did they not have Larry Fitzgerald, the PFF version, because PFF had their own version as well, they didn't have Larry Fitzgerald either. And that's the problem when you have these lists, because if you're doing something that's purely analytical, you lose sight of impact. You lose sight of, man, you had to be there. Like, there's no, you can't quantify that. There's no formula. There's nothing that you could do. You can't you can't code impact. I don't give a fuck I don't care what you do, whatever you try to input, whatever script you try to come up with, you cannot quantify impact.
Yep.
It's impossible. Justin Jefferson has no business being on here above the likes of an Antonio Brown or a Larry Fitzgerald. He is not playing in the same era that Larry Fitzgerald had to play in. It's way easier to amass stats now than when Larry Fitzgerald had. Larry Fitzgerald has more tackles than drops in his career. What are we doing? No disrespect to Justin Jefferson, too. Jetta is that dude. He's a monster. But no.
They tripping.
No.
They tripping.
You feel me? And did you have any more gripes before we get to running back, Rod?
My only other gripe would be linebacker.
Okay, so let me blitz through here. Tight ends, Rob Gronkowski, Travis Kelce, Tony Gonzalez. No problem. Left tackle, Joe Thomas, Trent Williams. No problem.
No problem.
Left guard, Alan Faneca, Steve Hutchinson. No problem. Jason Kelce, Zach Martin, Marshall Yonder. These are all greats. No problem.
No
you feel me? And we got to be honest. We don't know how to judge what a good O-lineman is anyway, bro. You can pick anybody. We just know the names. I would agree with whoever you had, bro.
Right.
You feel me? Edge rushers, DeMarcus Ware, Jared Allen. I was surprised to see Jared Allen. I was like, okay, I remember Jared Allen being a really good player. I didn't remember him being that dominant. But then you see this, man, 4-time All-Pro. You're like, oh, yeah, I guess he was that dominant. 136 career strikes. I guess he was that dominant. 32 forced fumbles. I guess he was that dominant, man. Jesus Christ, man. Myles Garrett, of course. Julius Peppers, of course. Defensive tackles. This is probably the easiest. The most for sure, the most locked, the most guaranteed outside of quarterback. Yeah. I'm at the point, Rod, and I'm not saying this for hyperbole. I'm not saying this for anything. I'm at the point where I can confidently say Aaron Donald is the best player I've ever seen in my life. I think he's better at playing defensive tackle than anybody else is outside of Ed Reed at playing their position. Like, you have to watch film on Aaron Donald dominates every single play. They had to triple team him. There's a picture of, and unfortunately it's your Dolphins, bro. I was watching NFL Top 100, and I've watched every single season of him. So the 22 to 23 season, going back to when he got drafted in 2014. I've watched every single NFL Top 100. One of the years they had an offensive lineman from the Dolphins, right? And he was talking about how one play they had to have 4 people on him, Rodney. This man, one person needed 4 offensive linemen to block him, dog.
How terrible!
And it had to be
why
the
would you admit
Dolphins.
that? Like, I would have taken that to the grave.
It's a picture of it, bruh. It's a picture of him going against the Dolphins, and it was 4 of them dudes trying to block this man, bro. He is the most unstoppable force to ever play in the NFL, dog. It's him, it's LT, Jerry Rice. Like, he's in that class. Like, he's in that class.
He's in the pantheon. He's in the
He's in the absolute pantheon, bro. So that's for sure, man. No disrespect, no problem. Calais Campbell, Chris Jones, of course. Nose tackle Vince Wilfork. They just made some bullshit up for J.J. Watt, but because they had to have something for J.J. Watt, right? Because he did play defensive tackle, he did play edge, he played outside linebacker, bro. J.J. Watt was
versatile defensive lineman,
right?
Oh,
linebackers, Ray Lewis, of course, Bobby Wagner, Brian Urlacher. Get the fuck out of here, man. All right, let's talk about it. Brian Urlacher has the best PR in the history of the NFL. Brian Urlacher made the Hall of Fame just because he played for Chicago, bro. Are you gonna tell me that Brian Urlacher was significantly better than Zach Thomas? Stop it.
That's what, bro. Zach is there's two gripes I have with this list, and I know Zach wasn't gonna make it because they always snub Dolphins. But Patrick Willis, y'all don't have Patrick Willis, not even on the practice squad.
Patrick Willis is the most consistently great linebacker next to Ray Lewis.
I'm looking at this man's resume right now. NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2007, 5-time All-Pro, first team, 2nd-time All-Pro in 2008, 7-time Pro Bowler. Are you serious, dog?
To make 6 All-Pro teams and you only played in 7 years, that's insanity. That's insane.
Come on, bro.
That's insane, man. That's insane.
2 years. Come on, bro.
That's insanity, bro.
Levante
David, Luke Kuechly. When I was going down, and I'm like, all right, where's Luke Kuechly? And then I seen him. I'm like, okay, all right, cool.
No, they gotta have Luke. You gotta have Luke. You gotta have
cornerback of my generation. To this day, I could put up the 09 Revis season with anybody, with any corner. It doesn't matter. We could go back to the 50s, baby. We could go back to the 70s. We could go to midnight lane train, bro. Like whoever you want. Like whoever you want. I'm putting up the 09 season with 94 Dion. I'm putting the 09 season with 09 Charles Woodson. I'm putting the 09 season with 06 Champ Bailey. I'm putting the 09 season against anybody, any cornerback you want to have. You want to go to Darryl Green, you want to go to Aeneas Williams, I don't care who you got. I'm putting that 09 season against any cornerback in history, bro. He had to be on here.
I'll tell you, Herbie, that 09 Revis was literally, he was Alcatraz, bro. Like, there was no escape. There was no escape in Revis, bro. He traumatized number 1 receivers, not locked them down, traumatized them. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. All right, so Rondé Barber, Risha Sherman, Blase, Patrick Peterson, Ed Reed, the second, number 1A and 1B is 2 best football players I've ever seen. Troy Polamalu, cool. All right, now let's get back to running back because there's 1A, 1B, and 1C. 1C is Adrian Peterson as far as being the best pure football player I've ever seen in my life. How do you have a list of the best players at their position for the past 25 years that does not include Adrian Peterson? You got Priest Holmes, you got Christian McCaffrey, and you got Derrick Henry. And you have practice squad LaDainian Tomlinson.
They put LT on the practice squad?
They put LT on the practice squad.
Get out of here.
This is to say this and to do this to not only Adrian Peterson, but LaDainian Tomlinson as well. It invalidates the entire list. I don't care how right you were. If you got 99% right, that 1% is so egregious that I can't trust any of this.
No.
That means that the formula that you created to get this list has to be flawed. It's either flawed or it overly weighs whatever statistic that you want. He made up some shit called DVYR. And let me see where I can find this crap, dog.
And for the people at home listening, I have Adrian Peterson's career stats up. I'm not even going to go through all his seasons. I'm just going to give you some of them. Rookie season, dog. 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns. And I'm just doing the rushing yards. I'm just doing rushing, not even receiving stats. Okay. Year 2, 1760, 10 touchdowns. 2009, almost 1,400 yards, 18 touchdowns. 2010, 1,200 yards. Almost 1,300. He was too shy of 1,300 yards. He had 12 touchdowns. The infamous 2012 season, he was 3 yards away from 2,100 yards, bro. Had fucking
He was
12
9
touchdowns.
yards away from having the all-time rushing record. 9 yards. And he could have got it, but he and Brad Childress, that jackass, decided to pull him out of the game so they could kick a field goal and beat the Green Bay Packers. Like, you cannot have you
Bro, the
can't have
man
a
has
list.
7 career passing touchdowns, Herbie.
You
Come on.
you cannot have a list without the last running back to win MVP. You can't have that list.
Unbelievable, bro.
He's the last running back to win the MVP. None of the guys that you have, besides the only other guy that won MVP, you have him on the sideline. He would say he's practice squad. He's practice squad player, LaDainian Tomlinson. And basically the crux is, man, the stat nerds are way too reliant on the stats. And here it is, bro. We relied heavily on FTN's DYAR metric, defense adjusted yards above replacement. What the fuck does that even mean?
Man,
You just putting words together, dog.
Get the fuck out of here, man. Come
Which
on.
calculates a player's value over the course of a season compared to a replacement level baseline. Other advanced statistics were also taken into account.
Bro, I don't care what you tell me. You're not putting Priest Holmes over this man. I don't care what stat you use. Like, that's just ridiculous, bro. And I grew up watching Priest Holmes, Herbie. I remember,
of course,
he was
Priest
one of
Holmes
my favorite running
bro,
backs.
Priest Holmes. I grew up playing primarily with the Chiefs on Madden because of Priest Holmes. I am fully aware of how dominant Priest Holmes was. I'm fully aware how good Priest Holmes was. But Priest Holmes was only good for so long. And remember, right after Priest Holmes, they had Larry Johnson. So Priest Holmes was not dominant with the Ravens. And Priest Holmes had a very, very, very short peak. And then they replaced him and somebody was almost as dominant. So that lets you know that Priest Holmes was significantly aided by the offense and the system that he was playing in at the time when he was with the early 2000 Chiefs. Priest Holmes was a monster. Priest Holmes and LaDainian Tomlinson are the reason I became a fantasy football fan. Priest Holmes had a year where he had 22 touchdowns and then followed it up with 27. Nobody is trying to knock Priest Holmes. But Priest Holmes is not Adrian Peterson. That's absurd. Priest Holmes is not LaDainian Tomlinson. That's absurd.
Absurd.
Absolutely absurd. What are we talking about? Yeah, so basically the crux is, man, if these stat dudes, we got to start bullying these dudes again, man. We got to start throwing them in lockers again, man.
Make bullying great again.
Make bullying NFL stat nerds great again, bro. I know it's long. It's a lot of letters. You feel me? But I could make a hat. We can make a hat of it, bro. We got to toss these dudes back in lockers, man. ASAP. All right, man. So, Rod,
Herbie,
are you ready to rank quarterbacks?
Oh, man. This list right here, Herbie, we're ranking them from the bottom up, right?
We're going from 5. We're going from 8 to 5. So 8 was a guarantee. Number 5 was a guarantee. 6 and 7 was where it got a little dicey.
Herbie, our list, I was doing some scouring on the internet because, we were doing research on all these quarterbacks. Our list is going to piss a lot of people off. I already know. All right, because of number 8. Number 8. Where we're starting.
See, here's the funny thing about it, right? So we'll get right into it. We don't need to keep people waiting, right? Our number 8 quarterback heading into 2025. And just a matter of fact, let's recap before we get into it, right? So we had the QB tiers. We started it off with the Bikini Bottom, and then we followed up with the Jedi Apprentice tier. And then we got to the Glad He's Not Our QB tier. And then we had the League of Extraordinary Middlemen, right? Like, every single tier up until this point, we did not rank anybody. We just felt like each grouping had a connective tissue that we felt could put them in their own separate tier. Now, with these 8 quarterbacks, we are finally ranking them. This is who we consider the 8 best quarterbacks in the world. So, if people get mad because we have this dude at number 8, they can fuck off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. And the person that we're talking about at number 8, man, is this man right here, man. Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the 8th best quarterback according to PHIN Outta heading into 2025, man. This was hard for me, and I'll take the lead on this one. This was hard for me. You know how I feel about Jalen Hurts. You know what I've said about Jalen Hurts.
Cowboys blood,
you
man.
know how I talk about Jalen Hurts. You know that this beef and it's up, and we stuck for life. For life. However, yes, I may have said that Jalen Hurts is a product of his system. Yes, I may have said that Jalen Hurts ain't shit without the best offensive line, the best defensive line, the best secondary, the best running back, and the best wide receiver core that we've seen in totality since the 90s Cowboys. I may have said that. These are all things that may have come out of my mouth. But at the same time, winning has to matter. Not fucking it up has to matter. Being 46-20 as a starting quarterback has to matter. Being 6-3 in the playoffs as a starting quarterback has to matter. Going to 2 Super Bowls has to matter. Being the best player in the first Super Bowl that you played in on the field has to matter. Being dominant in the second Super Bowl has to matter at some point. Because what did the great philosopher Herm Edwards say, man? You know the quote, Rod.
We play to win the games. Hello?
Hello? If you're not winning, it doesn't matter. Like, if you could throw the prettiest football in the world and you throw 4 interceptions in your second playoff game, it doesn't matter. Justin Herbert, it doesn't matter. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how pretty you throw a pass. Like, what you do, how you affect winning, how you impact winning has to factor in these things. Do I think Justin Herbert is better than some of the guys that we talked about previously up until this point? I mean, not Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. No, not really. But it doesn't matter because I know what he does in the playoffs. I know he doesn't succumb to pressure. I know he's not afraid of the bright lights. And that's half of the goddamn battle. That's legitimately 80% of the battle. Are you going to fold? Is the pressure going to make you absolutely fall apart? Yay or nay? And the answer is, up until this point, I keep saying Justin Herbert. Jalen Hurts rises to the occasion, dog. As much as it pains me to say this, as a perpetual Eagles hater, I don't want to do this. I'm gonna have to take a bath after having this fucking conversation, Rod. I feel dirty already. But I gotta call a spade, man. So why are you comfortable with Jalen Hurts being the 8th best QB, Rod, heading into 2025?
I mean, you basically highlighted the main thing about to come off as I don't even know how to say it. It's like if you're the type of person who likes to watch a game film, then a ranking of Jalen Hurts is like defying the film itself. Because like what he brings to the table, Herbie, is more than what you could just see from play to play to play. Right. And we've seen it in the postseason, which is really what it matters, Herbie. At the end of the day, a quarterback might not be the most accurate. A quarterback might not be the quickest processor. A quarterback might need a little bit more help in terms of play design and play calling and scheming, right? Like there's various things for various quarterbacks. But the most important skill you could really have, Herbie, and this is undermined, is the ability to be a big game player. And no matter what anybody says, like if we were ranking the most accomplished quarterbacks in the Mahomes era, clearly Jalen Hurts is number 2, right? He's already been to 2 Super Bowls, 6-3 in the playoffs. Herbie, consider this. Jalen Hurts has 6 playoff wins. The 4 guys who were drafted above him, Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Love, are a combined 6 and 7. So amongst his draft mates, amongst his contemporaries, he's Herbie. The AFC has been suffering at the hands of Mahomes. How many cracks has Josh Allen had at Mahomes in the playoffs? Lamar has had his cracks in the regular season. He had a shot in the playoffs at home, didn't matter, right? Like at the end of the day, Herbie, there's something to be said about a guy who you can depend on in the biggest of moments to make the right plays. It's not at this point, you really can't call it a coincidence him being spectacular in 2 Super Bowls, right? I even went back and watched the film of the previous Super Bowl, right? And I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to take credit away from Jalen Hurts because we made this argument for Brock Purdy when we were talking about him. You don't want to dock the guy who is the operator, right? Even if you're riding in a Lamborghini, even if you're riding in a Maserati, you don't want to dock the driver. And even if you think it's a self-driving car, you know what I'm saying? And he just has to sit there and have a presence. Jalen Hurts did more than that. He made plays, and you can't really deny that. And it's just crazy because the only thing I can say, Herbie, is that I see people. Jalen Hurts is the only guy I've seen who nobody talks about him being top 5 throughout the whole season, and then he won the Super Bowl. Now I've seen people try to crown him top 5, which is like to me, it's like you can't go the whole season not even thinking about him being top 5. Maybe even most people not even thinking he's top 10, and all of a sudden he's top 5 because he won. At the end of the day, I don't think he's individually better than some of the guys, than all the guys really that we ranked above him. I don't think he's individually better. However, he is the second best winner. I mean, outside of Mahomes, he is the biggest big game player out of all these guys. He is the guy. If you ask me, if you take Mahomes out the equation, Herbie, as crazy as it sounds, you put Lamar, you put Josh Allen, name any quarterback, Herbie. If you ask me who I trust outside of Mahomes to win me a playoff game, considering what we have seen in terms of results, Jalen Hurts.
Not facts, man. Not facts. Because we've seen Lamar fold under pressure. We've seen Josh Allen rise to the occasion but not make the play. But we've also seen Jalen Hurts be the best football player on the field in the Super Bowl, that in a game that had A.J. Brown in it, that had Patrick Mahomes in it, that had Chris Jones in it, that had Travis Kelce. They didn't win that game, but he was balling. One turnover, one mistake. He was almost perfect, and it needed to be perfect to beat that version of the Chiefs. So I seen him with the bright lights, and I seen him rise to the occasion, bro. So you got it, Eagles fans. You fucking got it. All right. This is where it gets kind of spicy, Rod. Did we actually ever come to an agreement on who was 6 and who was 7?
I think I was okay with with your thoughts. I agreed with your point. You made a good point. You made a good point. So I guess it's
all right, man. All right. So if that's the case, then man, our number 7 quarterback heading into 2025 for the PHIN Outta Water football show is, round of applause, CJ Stroud, baby. Talk to me about CJ Stroud, Rod.
Man, it was a pleasure to watch this guy on film, Herbie, and I gotta give it to you, man. I don't know if there's a quarterback in the league who has a slicker, smoother throwing motion than this guy, Herbie. And to be honest with you, despite the troubles that the Texans had last year, when you consider they had a lack of a run game, which is tied to obviously having one of the poorest offensive lines, especially interior offensive line. He had injuries at receiver, losing Nico Collins and Tank Dell. So, and I think Stephon Diggs, if I'm not mistaken, right? Stephon Diggs got hurt too, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs got hurt. Tank Dell got hurt for the rest of the season. Nico Collins missed a bunch of games, bro.
Yeah, so, a guy who didn't have all his weapons got hurt. But when you watch him, Herbie, and you watch CJ Stroud on film, Herbie, I'll put it like this. Kurt Warner, who does his QB Confidential videos where he breaks down quarterbacks, a long time ago, maybe a couple years back, he was doing a video on Tua, back when Tua had emerged with Mike McDaniel. And he said something that stuck with me. And when I was watching film on CJ Stroud, this is what I got from it. Kurt Warner once said that there are guys, like there's different kinds of special when you look at quarterbacks. Sometimes you have the guys who hit some of their layups, they miss some of their layups, but they give you a lot of special. And then you have guys who hit 95% of their layups and they give you a little bit of special. And when I look at CJ Stroud, Herbie, that's what he looks like to me, Herbie. You watch him on film, he is efficient. He knows exactly where to go with the football. He's not one of those quarterbacks who, when he's dropping back, he hitches multiple times. He's throwing that shit on the first hitch, Herbie. And he's just so on point. He knows exactly where to go. And it was just, you watch the Texans film and you go, damn, man, like if the interior line was just a little bit better, if the receiving core was
a
just
little bit better, they were terrible.
a lot of it.
You gotta remember, bro, this is a man who got sacked 8 times in the playoff game, bro. If you get sacked 8 times in the playoff game with your starters, with majority of the line there with the starters, that means that there was malpractice. That there's no reason that you should even get to that point where you have a offensive line that's bad enough to let you get sacked 8 times, bro. 8 times. So that just lets you know what he was dealing with. And that's really the theme of basically the reason why we get ranked these guys and what separated these guys from everybody else, especially 7 and up, is these are the guys that no matter what the situation is, who is in the lineup, who's out the lineup, if you have a running game, if you don't have a running game, they just make enough plays, right? Yep. Like, that is truly the best of the best. Can you be productive when everything is going crazy around you and falling apart around you? Can you still make throws? CJ Stroud made throws in chaos 17 straight weeks in a row. Mm-hmm. In a row.
Crazy plays. I mean, there are plays where he's falling to the ground and he still gets a completion on the 4th down or a 3rd and 2. You know what I mean? Like, you saw him do it regularly, Herbie. And man, if I'm a listen, the Texans, you know, they did address their offensive line a little bit. They drafted Ursary in the 2nd round. They traded for Tomlinson. They're tinkering around with their offensive line. So we can only hope that whatever they're trying to work out. And then you also the offensive coordinator changed as well, Herbie. The offense that they ran was very similar. The previous offense under Bobby Slowick was more of a closer to the West Coast style of offense. Who knows exactly what kind of style of offense they're going to run for CJ Stroud, Herbie, but he's a guy that you could put a lot on his plate. He's extremely smart. He processes really fast, and he's a treat to fucking watch, Herbie. He really is. He's a surgical operator, honestly.
All right, man. We got Jalen Hurts. We got CJ Stroud. Who could be next? And I'm not going to lie to you, dog. This man has been in the league a long time. He's been through the ups. He's been through the downs. And he has seen all aspects of quarterback play. He has seen all aspects of the conversations about quarterbacks, what it means to win, what it means to become a winner, what it means to lose, what it means to be called overrated, and what it means to ultimately become a Super Bowl champion, man. And I never thought I'd ever say this, going back to his days with the Detroit Lions. But Matthew Stafford is objectively a top 6 quarterback, bro. What is going on, dog? What kind of world are we in? I have been one of the biggest Matthew Stafford critics you could ever find on the internet. I knew he threw for 50,000 yards with the Detroit Lions, but if you actually watch them, a lot of it was empty calories. A lot of them was, hey, Calvin Johnson is somewhere down there. He down there somewhere, right? Like, there was a person that a lot of people wanted Matthew Stafford to be because he was the number 1 overall pick, because he was super talented. And when I say talented, I mean like uber talented. Mel Kiper Jr. said Matthew Stafford was going to be the number 1 overall pick when he was in high school. You know how good you have to be when somebody says you're going to be the number 1 overall pick as a senior in high school, and then you end up the number 1 pick anyway? Like, it was that predetermined. He's that talented. I was watching film of him. Go watch the Bills game from this past season, bro. There's no way you can watch that game and say that he's not one of the 6 best quarterbacks in the world. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But the difference between Matthew Stafford now and why I'm comfortable calling him a top 6 quarterback now, heading into 2025, is the guy that y'all wanted him to be when he was in Detroit primarily, and even his first season with the Rams. the guy that y'all wanted him to be, the guy that y'all had this idea that he wasn't. He folded under pressure. The bright lights, unlike Jalen Hurts, it did get to him. He used to get lemon booty a lot. That's why he was primarily a loser in Detroit. He couldn't overcome it. First season with the Rams, he won a Super Bowl. He had 17 interceptions that year. He had 6 pick sixes that year. Like, he almost threw the game away in the playoffs
Against the Niners in the championship
against
game.
the 49ers. But
Yeah.
something happened. He persevered. He won that championship. And winning that championship changed Matthew Stafford. He finally became the quarterback that y'all have wanted him to be this entire time. He's poised now. He doesn't fold under pressure. He thrives under pressure. He actually gets better in the playoffs now. We seen him go toe-to-toe practically by himself against the Eagles.
Yep.
They almost beat the Eagles. Threw for 300 yards, and you couldn't even see where the field was because he's that talented, throwing dimes in the snow.
All kind of angles too, sidearm, like his arm talent is like has always been top tier.
I watch film and I can say this confidently. He is in the tier with John Elway and Dan Marino. Dan Marino I still think he's a tick above everybody else, but it's the holy trinity. Like, he is throwing shit and it just flies, bro. Like, it literally flies to somebody's face mask. It's insane, bro. So I'm happy to see Matthew Stafford fully reach his potential. The mental side finally matched the physical side, right? Like, he's not the athlete that he used to be. He never was a great athlete, and you can tell, bro, them hits is taking a toll on him, bro, because that man walks around laboring. But his mind is so fast, his arm is still incredible that he's able to overcompensate, man. So clearly the 6th best quarterback heading into 2025, man. Any thoughts about him before we get on to number 5, Rob?
No, Herbie, you covered all the bases on him. No, all I'll add to that is, Herbie, it's always a beautiful thing to watch. First and foremost, I guess it might be too early to say that this is a trade that both teams won, but are there any two teams happier that they made a trade than the Rams and the Lions? Like, in terms of just how things have turned out, just for the Lions to be considered a Super Bowl contender, Herbie, is a win, I think, for that franchise. When you consider, how dark, their history has been in terms of just not winning. And then the Rams, winning with Matthew Stafford that first year, him finally getting over the hump, Herbie, it's something to be said about watching a guy become the Grizzly veteran, right? A guy who plays with savvy, a guy who he's seen it all, he's done it all. Like, he is now that role. Like, he is the veteran stalwart star quarterback. And it's, you know what, even though back in the days, man, we used to look at Matthew Stafford and be like, damn, man, like, the Lions, will they ever win with him? Will Megatron ever win with him? Hell, Megatron retired early, right? He could have played some more years. But shout out to Matthew Stafford, Herbie. It's a lovely thing to see, especially when you consider that he was playing during an era with all-time great quarterbacks, right?
All-time great quarterbacks.
Like, he threw 5,000 yards in the same season that Tom Brady also threw 5,000 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was competing amongst Drew Brees and fucking Aaron Rodgers and all these guys,
Man,
right?
Listen, he wasn't even in the next tier. He wasn't even in the next tier with Eli and Phillip, right? Like, he was below that. You can make the argument he wasn't in the Matt Ryan tier, right? Like, there's this notion because somebody has pedigree that when things don't work out, it obviously has to be the team's fault, and a lot of it could be the team's fault, right? Who up until that point won Detroit? The world was on his shoulders. In fairness to him, but he was a part of it, right? Like, I seen him against a game against the Cowboys. He folded, man. He could have killed us, but the pressure got to him, and it took him winning a championship to get that monkey off his back. And now he's calm, cool, collective, like a true quarterback that's also incredibly talented, man. So I just love watching him play. Anybody, bro, go watch the QB School Week 14 analysis, bro. That's what it's called. You will get a new appreciation for Matthew Stafford, dog. That dude has a cannon, bro. That shit is sick. All right, man. Last quarterback before we get up out of here, man. And this guy took the world by storm. clear rookie of the year. One of the greatest rookie seasons that I have ever seen. One of the greatest rookie seasons of all time, easily, man. Um, my man right here, man, Jaden Daniels, man. Jaden
Jaden
Daniels,
Daniels.
the fifth best quarterback going into 2025, according to PHIN Outta, to already be top five. And I thought at first it would be too soon, but when you just think about the season this dude had, bro, like, how can you say there were anybody better than him outside of the top four? You can't really make an argument. Like, you can't. Sometimes you just know. Russell Wilson was great out the gate. You know what I'm saying? Patrick Mahomes was great out the gate. Patrick Mahomes' first year started, he threw 50 touchdowns. Sometimes we don't need to have multiple seasons. Sometimes guys are just that good. The game just comes that easy to him. He was clearly one of the five best quarterbacks in the league last year. So he had to be at number five on this list, right? Talk to me about Jaden Daniels, man.
Well, here's the thing, Herb. If I had to describe Jaden Daniels in one phrase, I would say that he is the rising star of the NFL, man. Look, I watched a decent amount of film on Jaden Daniels, Herbie, because he intrigued me, and I found some interesting things about his history. Right, he's someone that because of his size, he was actually not looked upon as like a highly sought prospect. Right, I looked at some of his stats, right, in high school, his junior, senior year. Combined 9,654 passing yards, 153 touchdowns, 74 completion percentage. This was always in him, Herbie, since even before he hit the college, right? He got to college. The transition from high school to college was tough for him. And when I was doing some research, what I came to find out was that what he started doing was not traditional film study. What he started doing was like this form of like VR film study, where he would go through hundreds upon thousands of extra mental reps. And when you watch him, Herbie, in the NFL, the way that he played, when you see how quick his processor was, when you see how efficient that he played, when you see how accurate that he was, it almost seemed like he was one step ahead of the defenses as a rookie. And I think the way that he learned to absorb the game, along with just his natural gifts, as well as a lot of effort and hard work, gave us one of the greatest rookie seasons, maybe the greatest rookie season you'll ever see. And I know some people might think like, bro, he was just a rookie. It was just 1 year to rank him top five. But especially when you consider the fact that we kind of base a lot of this off of what happened last year, Herbie. Like, how could you not rank him top five, Herbie? I have his playoff stats here because I was looking at, because just imagine this is a rookie in the playoffs, Herbie. In the wild card, 24 of 35, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, 36 rushing yards, no picks. In divisional round against the Lions, a team that was considered a contender, 22 of 31, almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 51 rushing yards. Against the juggernaut Eagles, 29 of 48, 255 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 45 rushing yards with 1 rushing touchdown. For a guy to give you in the playoff run essentially 6 touchdowns to 1 pick, for a guy to take down two teams that have playoff experience, right? And for him to make it to the conference game in his rookie season, and for him to be the main benefactor, right? Like, he was the catalyst for it, right? You look at the Washington offense, Herbie, the only guaranteed star on the Commanders is Terry McLaurin outside of him. So he came into a situation that was not ideal, and he helped turn that franchise around. When people talk about franchise-changing players, when you talk about a guy that's elite, and we spoke about, like, that's why it gets annoying when you hear people talk about Herbert and you hear people talk about Lawrence, and they always have all these excuses, Herbie. They always talk about, oh, the O-line this, and then they always talk about, oh, the receivers this. But then you have a guy like Jaden Daniels who goes to a team that most people don't know anything about, and all of a sudden, they are a contender. And if you are a Washington Commanders fan, Herbie, you must be living in bliss right now, because you have a guy that could essentially be one of the top 3-4 quarterbacks for the next decade. And you watch him play, Herbie, and I know defensive coordinators have nightmares of this dude, because he just knows how to keep drives alive, play after play after play, to be that consistently accurate, to be that consistently in tune with your decision making, to be that consistently calm and mature about how you play the game, to be a 5-year veteran in terms of like your mental as a rookie, in terms of how you look. I mean, Herbie, I mean, Jaden Daniels, he blew me out the water, bro. Even going back and watching the film on him, I was just thinking to myself, like, dog, like this dude is like a computer, and this is his rookie season. I
Yeah, it's his
mean,
rookie season,
like he
and
gets better from here. He gets better.
listen, I knew it was up for the NFC East and the whole league, bro. In that game against the Browns, bro, when he threw that over the shoulder to T.J. McLaurin in the end zone, dog, and it was perfect, and it just dropped. I'm like, oh, he got that kind of accuracy. Yeah, it's grits.
Oh,
It's
you
grits.
talking about? Oh,
Or
you know
against the
what? I was
Bengals.
thinking about the play you talking about. I was thinking about the one he did against the Bengals, where they were in
Yeah.
quarters coverage.
My
They
bad. It
were,
was the Bengals. My bad. It was the
bro,
Bengals. Yeah, it
they
was on
were
Monday
in
Night
quarters
Football.
coverage, bro. They were in quarters,
They
man.
were in the defense designed to stop that from happening, and it didn't matter. When I
Didn't
seen
matter.
that play, I said, "Oh yeah, it's grits. It's grits for the NFC East. We done. It's over. We got real problems. The what? Put like this: he's top 5 because he brought the Washington football team, the Washington Redskins, the Washington Commandos out of the depths of hell almost single-handedly. You got to be top 5 after that. This man did the unthinkable. The unthinkable.
Dude,
He made Cliff Kingsbury a good offensive coordinator again. Got to be top 5, man. Got to be top 5, man. All right,
you
man.
know what, Herbie? The only thing I'll say too is this. What's going to make this season so fascinating for him is how our team's going to adjust to him if they can. And the reason why I added that caveat, Herbie, is because like the whole time I'm talking about him, Herbie, I never once spoke about him being a dual threat because he's
Yeah,
such a great pocket passer. But he
exactly.
keeps you alive with his legs too, Herbie. So it's like, what answer do you have for this guy? Like, this is the future of NFL quarterbacks, man. We're watching him right here.
Yeah, so and I'm gonna make this one tidbit because I think he has the same DNA with Patrick Mahomes in this sense, right? And people are gonna be, we can't compare them. Yes, I'm not comparing their careers, I'm not comparing their accolades. I'm comparing something that I think they share in common. It was reported that Patrick Mahomes, his pressure rate, his heart rate goes down in the playoffs. He's more calm in the playoffs. That don't even make sense to me. That don't even,
He's locked in. He locked
like that
in.
don't even make sense to me.
He's locked in.
He gets more calm as the playoffs progress. And I think it's the same thing with Jaden Daniels. Just he is legitimately one of the most calm football players I've ever seen. Regardless, like forget just quarterbacks. It looks like nothing gets to him. It looks like he is in full zen. It looks like he
Unbothered.
has unbothered in a very chaotic sport. And that just shows you that 80% of this shit is mental. All of these dudes are talented. All of these high draft picks are high draft picks for a reason.
Yep.
Who are the people that don't let the situation get to them and they can remain calm under chaos? Those are the best quarterbacks. Tom Brady is the greatest of all time, not because he had the strongest arm, most athletic. No, it's because when the pressure got the most high leverage, he was able to remain focused. Patrick Mahomes is able to remain focused. From what I seen, Jaden Daniels is able to remain focused. You seen Lamar. Lamar was out here slamming his helmet and shit in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was just just feeling that lemon booty, feeling it.
You could feel it. The weight of the world was suffocating. You could see it on his face. Jaden Daniels, it didn't matter what the situation was. He had the same temperament. And man, I can't wait. Unfortunately, he's in my division. So I got to see this motherfucker twice a year for the next decade, bro. God damn it, man. God dang it, man. All right. That is our top. Shit, my bad. That is 8 through
Half of the top
5.
eight. Half of the top
Yeah,
eight.
half of the top 8, man. We're gonna finish off next week, man. We got the top 4, man. We got the elite 4, the final 4. We are probably gonna be surprising with our rankings. No, we're not. Y'all know who's in it. Y'all know how it's gonna
Maybe
be.
order
Right?
wise. Maybe
Order wise though. So come back for our final 4 quarterbacks, man. Just to recap, man. Jalen Hurts number 8, CJ Stroud number 7, Matt Stafford number 6, and Jaden Daniels is our 5th best quarterback, man. So, Rod, anything before we want to get up out of here, brother?
Man, just once again, man, shout out to the PHIN Outta Water family, man. Appreciate y'all always showing love to the boys. And you know what I'm saying? We can't wait for football season, bro. Can't wait, man.
Definitely can't wait for
Can't
football
wait.
season, man. We will see y'all next week, man. Deuces.